All right, Genesis, the 11th chapter, and I want to read the first through the, around about the 9th verse. And it reads as following. Now the whole earth spoke one language and used the same words or vocabulary. And as people journeyed eastward, they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they settled there. They said to one another, "Come, let us make bricks and fire them thoroughly in a kiln to harden and strengthen them." So they used brick for stone as building material, and they used tar, bitumen, or asphalt for mortar. They said, "Come, let us build a city for ourselves, and a tower whose top will reach into the heavens, and let us make a famous name for ourselves, so that we will not be scattered into separate groups and be dispersed over the surface of the entire earth, as the Lord instructed." Now the Lord came down to see the city and the tower which the sons of men had built. And the Lord said, "Behold, they are one, unified people. They all have the same language. This is only the beginning of what they will do in rebellion against me. And now no evil thing they imagine they can do and will, and now no evil thing they can imagine they can do, and nothing will be impossible for them. Come, let us, the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, go down there, confuse and mix up their language, so they will not understand one another's speech." So the Lord scattered them abroad from there over the surface of the entire earth, and they stopped building the city. Therefore, the name of the city was Babel, because the Lord confused the language of the entire earth. And from that place, the Lord scattered and dispersed them all over the surface of the earth. All right, y'all ever heard of babbling food? Why are you babbling, right? Babbling is what that city was called, because at that point when God separated their languages, you say something, I don't know what you're saying, they called it babbling, right? So you're babbling on, or if you've ever heard that, right? So that's where that word, that's where it originated from. There's a quick thought that I want to express even before you go, because I know you got to go, that is imperative. It's sort of the summation of what God is saying today, right? And so I'm going to make the point in a question. And that question is, when was the last time you imagined? When was the last time you imagined your solution? When was the last time you engaged your imagination for whatever you need in life? Not your knowledge, not your skills, not somebody else. No, when is the last time you used your imagination? So, Einstein said this: imagination is more important than knowledge. For knowledge is limited to all we know and understand, while imagination embraces the entire world and all there ever will be to know and understand. Now, imagination is the ability of the mind to create or be resourceful. The ability of the mind to create or be resourceful. We've been talking about the mind, good things coming, right? And how the mind can work in our situations with respect to our where we are in it, right? How we feel in it, and what will become our reality about something, right? And I've talked about this statement that the Pharisees and the Sadducees were questioning Christ, and the Pharisees asked him, "What is the greatest commandment?" And he said, "Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, mind, and soul." right? Knowing that the soul is the mind and the mind is the mind, which spoke to, in a general sense, what Christ is saying. Even the heart is the mind, because that's where it all lies. But what he was basically saying was, there's a element in the mind that we have to understand. I told you in Romans 7:25, he says, for it is with the mind that we serve the Lord. All right? So now, we talked about the mind having, in most cases, the mind has two functions, or two general large functions, right? It recalls and it imagines, right? It creates and it remembers. And most of the time, we spend all of our forward walking in the recall stage. You go to school, you learn, right? And so you go back to what you learned. You constantly have an experience, and when you're going forward, you go back to the experience you had, because you call that wisdom. You call that, it's experience over time that helps you to mature and all of this stuff. But it's always recalling an experience that when you touch the hot stove, you burn your hand, it hurts, right? So now it created a memory that you go back to and pull that file, and when you see a red eye, you know it's hot, so you don't touch it, and you call that wisdom. But very seldom do we operate with our experiences and our recall behind us and move towards what can be in front of us. Remember what he said in his Bible. He said that they were one people, one language, and when they decided to do something, because they were one, he said they can do it. They were going to build a tower to touch the heavens. And the scripture said that God and them came down and said, no, these people, they for real, they won. These people, and if they're one, they can do anything, right? But what he said is they can do anything evil that they imagine. And so God, he really began to deal with me about this imagination. Because even where we sit as Miak, it's going to take not experience, but imagination. When I was growing up at Glory, or we call it Virginia New Birth, and all those things, when I was, an administrator and a minister and a youth pastor and all that stuff, I operated in creativity. This is where I operated in creativity. I operated in what can we do, right? That hasn't been done with the youth in mind. I began to think about what can be done. Well, what can be done is everything that I can imagine. So then, what are the limits on your imagination? So if our imagination is a faculty of the mind, right? If it's a faculty of the mind that creates or can be resourceful, right? Think about that. It can be resourceful. Why don't we use it? You work in a job, you've been trained, you have some schooling in certain things, right? And that's cool. It's good. But how much of your creativity do you bring to your job? How much of your creativity do you bring to, or do you do what you do as a matter of what you've done? Right? And what that result was. This is what I'm saying, right? Yes, the result may have been profitable, but there's more. This really challenged me, because imagination coupled with excitement make obstacles look like nothing. Think about that.
And imagination, coupled with your excitement, will make whatever's in the way not be in the way. If you're being called back to Africa, then start imagining more. Because you could be doing what you've done or what you think to do that has been done. Well, they need clothes and they need food and they need that. And I say, well, now, how about you think something different? How about you think bigger than that? And how about you get excited about the bigger thing than that? Right? So now here's what's going to happen. Because we don't imagine frequently, and as a matter of fact, or as a matter of general work, general life living, it's hard when we have to sit down now and begin to imagine something different, right? Because we don't understand how much we reference what's behind us versus what we can produce and create. Israel, if you begin imagining your basketball season for next year, not what you know, I ain't gonna say it because it's being recorded, not what or who you know, but what you imagine about your play, your ability, what you desire to happen, and get excited about that, the obstacles, they'll get out the way. And God really challenged me on this. I gotta learn to live in this now. We all have to learn to live in. There should be something that you're creating within the next month, 2 months. There should be something in your mind that you're creating. Because watch this. How can you use faith if you never imagine anything? Because what is faith? What is faith?
Substance of things not seen.
Hope. Where is hope? What is hope?
Open.
Hope is a picture in your mind. A desire, a picture, an experience in your mind that you want to come into your reality. That's what hope is, right? It's a picture, it's a reality, it's a real experience over there in the unseen or the untangible that's in your head that you want to manifest. Well, guess what imagination is? The Latin term for imagination means a picture inside. What is the picture inside that you have? I'm talking family. I'm talking job, right? This is where we've got so caught up in and so anchored in this world in the sense of losing what God gave us, to where now, and this I want to challenge you to create. Einstein, regarded as one of the smartest men that there ever was, who identified certain laws and principles that existed, but that he had the creative ability enough to go and be able to receive. This man is a genius, and he said, knowledge ain't everything. You go to the institution, they tell you knowledge is everything. The people perish for a lack of knowledge. Absolutely. But they don't live because they don't have no creativity, especially if the imagination. The scripture says that unto God who is able to do abundantly above all that we can think and or even imagine. He said not think or imagine, but that we can think, right? What takes place in the thought realm? Imagination, right? And so what he's saying, for you to have faith, for you to even exercise faith, you gotta practice imagination. You gotta imagine something of God, right? We want faith to be a job. A job is physical. A job's already here. A job ain't faith. Money ain't faith. Because you can get money. You can take money out of somebody's pocket. Money ain't faith. Faith, see, what God is saying is, I want you to put some pressure on me. Y'all asking for this stuff that ain't faith. Go out there and get it. Go get what you want. I want you all to exercise in my image and likeness. I'm a creator. I'm a creator. What's the difference between a concept and a precept? You know what a concept is, right? What's a concept? Okay, a formed idea. I like that word, right? What's a precept?
Before.
So watch this. A precept is an idea that gets birthed into a concept, right? How does it get birthed into a concept? It's an idea that you begin to give thought to. And that thought, that faculty of the mind to go and grab that idea and to begin to think about it is why it's crazy, right? Because we'll go and we can build something, right? But don't understand how our mind is building our life before us. An idea, a precept comes. A precept is also known as a principle or a law, right? It precedes the sept. The sept is the idea, right? So it precedes the sept, the idea, but it has a construct. So you grab the precept, the principle, the idea that is, watch this, because sometimes ideas, you say they're crazy, but guess what? The idea is foundational. We think the idea, oh, we got to, no, that's not a good idea. Oh, that's not a good foundation. All these foundations coming to you, and we can't build on none of them. Matter of fact, watch this. What is the last idea that you had that you converted into a reality? What's the last idea that you had that you converted into a reality? Idea? Okay. Precept. What was the precept of it?
I look at it as a father, right? Like when I used to live in my old house, I was like, I need something to do like this. Concept of life. So I was like, oh, what about, they say fish are very relaxing.
Okay.
So started digging in the ground and do a fish fry.
So, right, and now what happened? Do you have a fish pond now?
Yeah, I mean, that's the old house.
Oh, that's at the old house. Okay, so it was there.
He was there.
Okay, and what y'all do?
Then, I mean, we made it. I get to the water, put some fish in it, and we would.
Y'all fished?
No, we didn't fish, it was just for looking at it.
Oh, so it was like a little, like a koi pond.
Yeah, like a koi pond.
Okay,
Yeah,
it was huge.
Yeah.
Think about that. You ain't say nothing. You got Thor hammers made out of Lego blocks in your room, all these Lego things in your room, right? Now, that's something that you thought of to order to make, right? But what I'm challenging you to do is you got to stay in that realm, that creative realm, because watch this. As you imagine, your capacity for thought increases. Why do you think Einstein was so smart? Why do you think his head was so big? Why do you think he was so intelligent? Because his imagination was wild. The more, see, we haven't learned how to exercise our mind, right? Now, I'm not this, your mind can do anything. I don't believe in that. Your mind is a tool God gave you to use to give back to Him. He said that He would, that you would have the mind of Christ in you. And then He said that your mind should be renewed. Be not conformed to this world, but be you transformed, right? Metamorphosis, meaning become something else by the renewing of your mind. that you might prove what is the good, acceptable, and perfect will of God, right? The mind and your creative ability is your faith walk. We try to separate it and make faith be, oh, what I need and what God can come down and do. No. Your walk by faith is your ability to understand the creative mind that God gave you with the precept of faith. The original idea is that God is the creator, right? And that he has afforded us faith. Those are the precepts. Precepts. Faith are the ideas, right? Without faith, it's what? Impossible to please God. The greatest creative idea you can have is to please God. Because that's going to take that will take more of your creativity. To please God capitalizes on all of your imagination. And that ain't even enough still. But guess what? Its capacity is way bigger than your recall capacity. Because your recall capacity is a small little thing, right? What happened to you at 6 years old in 1942? I just think you
I
old.
was gonna say it's like the phone in the cloud, right? You don't even put so much in here, but the cloud is.
The cloud got everybody's phone in it. The cloud's got, right? But think about this, right? He said this, right? This right here. Take this back to 1974 when I was born. We would look at this thing like, what? Think about what it took. We're just consumers. Y'all do all the hard work and take our money, right? Right? Guess what? Because we won't use our own creative abilities, we give it to Musk and Bezos, and we give it to Zip, we give it to all of them, right? Yeah, in your phones and on TikTok and on Facebook and blah, 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 because of their idea. And now they have captured, all they're doing is, and this isn't a conspiracy thing or nothing like that, any of that silly stuff. This is no. The more you go on there, the more they understand what you want, and the more they begin to create what you hunger for. And while doing that, they're taking your time, because when they take your time, guess what you can't do? Create. Because they suck your time to give you more of what you want, to give them more of what they want, because they figured out that you want nothing. Because you know what entertainment means? Blank space. It means nothing. That's what entertainment is for. You look up the etymology of entertainment, it means nothing. Vacancy. So entertainment provides a vacancy where we suppose to call it rest. But there is no rest in the absence of consciousness, of awareness. There's no rest. Now we can go there for moments, but when we come back, what happened? We've merely satisfied what? An emotional quotient. We're going to watch Dallas beat the Giants tomorrow. Yes, sir. We're going to watch Dallas beat the Giants tomorrow. And guess what? And guess what? From 8:30 till 11 something at night, guess what we're going to do? Nothing. Watch this. If it's entertainment, it is literally nothing. But watch this. We will pay millions of dollars for people to engage in something that's nothing. Think about it, right? We try to use the money to help stuff and all this stuff, but is basketball saving anything? Is basketball doing anything when you're doing it? Right? It's a game. right? It's a game designed to entertain. I'm not saying it's bad. I love basketball. But what I'm saying is, think about it. Asia, what's the last thing you created? You don't really realize it, so that you can operate it in it more. Look at his head. Right? Think about it. What are you doing?
Creating
Creating what?
a hairstyle.
A look and a style. Where did it come from? Watch this. Don't chase the technique so much. Because you know what that will do? It'll lock you into a certain way. You want to fade? Understand the precept.
Right.
Understand hair texture. Understand the construct of fading. That is just gradually, it's hair that's gradually going down, not hard lines. Right? Understand the concept and then create. Because guess what you see when you see all of those people with their shows and all that? That's what you see. The ones who can charge you, $250 for a 30-minute haircut or a 1-hour haircut. Guess what they've done?
They've created.
They have not bound themselves
to technique. Right.
to just the application. They've expanded themselves outside of the application. When I was in barber school, they weren't doing no enhancements.
Right.
Enhancements weren't even a thing. They were just trying to get the blade sharp and set to cut a good line, a crisp line. Now, they're enhancement. They went from Beijing to, they went from grease pens to airbrush.
Right. Fibers.
Hair fibers, all of that stuff, to now glue-on wigs and all of these things now that can make you look like whatever, right?
Right.
Because what? Somebody in the industry created,
Right.
then everybody again followed. What God is challenging you to do is be creative. Why aren't you creative? Israel, what is it that you can create? Watch this. It's not always something that you like or something. It's about being resourceful. So here's how you understand where to be creative. What are the resources that you need? What are some resources that you need?
For anything?
Resources that you need.
Money?
Huh?
Money?
Money, okay? Money is a resource that you need.
Right.
How can you be creative
With money?
to get it? Because imagination is the mind's ability to be resourceful. Right? To pull in resources. Or to use what it is as a resource. So if you need money, how can your imagination, under the precept of faith, how can imagination, what can you do to acquire your resource? What can you do?
To get money, a lot of stuff.
Huh?
I mean, to get money, a lot of stuff. You just have to, you can have your own little business. You can.
I ain't hearing the first thing, because I said the precept is faith.
You can ask.
Huh?
No. You can.
You can give what you have to God.
Gotcha.
Is that creative?
Yes, I don't know. I don't
Trust
know.
me,
Creative.
that's a stretch of many people's imagination.
Oh, gotcha. I get
To
what you're
give
saying.
something to God, that's
Right.
a stretch,
Right.
right?
Right.
So, I want you all to really challenge yourself. Resourcefulness, right? The better piece of resourcefulness is not to be resourceful for your entertainment, because that's being resourceful for your nothing.
Okay.
How can you be resourceful for the family through your creativity?
For like
Our
our family.
family. Because really, you guys are under a
Right.
family structure, right? So your resourcefulness should be towards what is your structure, what's giving you, right?
Right.
Because you say a job, but you really don't have to go get a job, because if you don't, then the money that you need,
Right.
ultimately you won't get it, right?
Yeah.
So what can you do by way of being resourceful in your home, creative? See, it's bad, it's crazy, right? But watch this. The more you imagine and create from a standpoint of your resourcefulness that's needed, your thought capacity will increase. Don't mean you'll get smarter, because smarter, just because you can think more, don't mean you're smarter.
Right.
Right?
You're just thinking.
Right, I mean, but your ability to think will grow.
Oh, like you won't be as limited.
You won't be as limited in thought. That's why, oh, I can't come up with it, I can't. And then I can sprout out some stuff, oh, okay, oh, yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Because guess what? You all don't engage in that imagination. I'll say this, and it's not this is what do you call it? It's not a fact, it's just an observation, right? That I may not be true, and it might be true because it's my observation, which
Right.
to me it seems true.
Right.
But in my age, and probably the age before me, we were more creative because we had less. Right? I mean, you got
Yeah.
every
I get what you're saying.
PlayStation game, right? I mean, we didn't have a game system when I grew up. You know what the game system was? Outside, a soccer ball, a tennis ball, a kickball, football, a basketball.
I would say when we were younger.
Huh?
When we were younger.
When you were younger, you were
imagine-
more creative,
Right. But as we grew up.
because guess what you did? When you were younger, guess what you did?
Well,
Guess
we
what you
used our
did?
imagination.
When Saturday was coming, guess what you did? Friday night. What would you think about Friday night?
Going outside.
Going outside, you was imagining what?
Playing outside.
Playing in the morning, right?
Yeah.
What you was gonna do, the bike you ride, where you were gonna go,
What games would we come up with?
right? You were imagining that already. So why did it stop? Because I guarantee you, you don't have that same excitement now. You got conformed. You got conformed. Be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. Every night you was renewed. If y'all were in school Friday, man, I got the weekend to play. Or after I get home from school,
I'm going
I'm
outside.
going outside to play. And guess what? That excitement, along with your imagination, made your childhood what? Fun.
Fun.
So why are we losing it? Because we conform. There is no way you should not like basketball because of what conforms you. See, every day something is trying to grab to conform you, to steal from you what? I get it, injuries, and some things are smart.
Concussions are real. But I get it. But guess what? Those things shouldn't make you conform. Don't give it the power to take the joy from what you like to do. Don't let anything take the power from it. You think about it. You was up, ready to go. You ain't need to work out. Why? Because your imagination and your excitement about playing didn't matter if y'all was running or riding bikes. Right? You worked out every day. Why?
Because I was always.
Because what was leading you was your imagination and expectation and excitement was what was leading you.
Right.
Now all of a sudden, we done had some experience, we done grew up, and now all of a sudden, I gotta get myself together. And the whole time, find you some friends, get some excitement, and go get it. Now, he got some of that right now with Hammy and Tristan, Christian, and Adrian, right? To where, hey, Mark, can I go to the gym at, 7:30 at night or so, right? That's an excitement, right? That's an excitement. That's something, it's not necessarily creative, but what I'm trying to get you to see is that's something that hasn't conformed because there's still a passion there. And the more you begin to imagine and stay in that realm of faith, the more you will please God. So now I said the greatest imagination that you can have is pleasing God, is to please God. Right? Because what does that do? Why is that one of the greatest imaginations you can have? And excitements that you can have.
Pleasing God is
He's the author of your life.
Right.
Without life.
So if you please him, then.
If I were to say, why would pleasing Thanos be a good thing?
So you don't die.
Huh?
So you don't die.
Because he can do what?
Snap you away.
Okay, Thanos is fake.
Right.
And God is bigger than Thanos. So if Thanos can do that, what can God do? Thanos who? Now who? What can he do?
To Thanos, to God?
No, God to Thanos.
Oh.
Yeah, right. Thanos to God.
I thought you were saying, as a... He can do anything he wants. He can snap away Thanos.
He wouldn't have to snap, because he ain't got no fingers.
True.
God ain't got no fingers, so he ain't even gonna snap. Watch that. He gonna do everything he do by what?
Thank you.
Huh?
A man. It's talking, speaking.
He could burp and Thanos is gone.
A man.
Ooh, excuse me. Thanos, where you go? Right? I hate you burp. And Thanos wouldn't be nothing.
Right.
Think about that. He really couldn't burp because he ain't got no stomach for air gas to come through, right? So he really still couldn't even burp, but think about it. He's consciousness. He's awareness. He is the existence beyond everything material and above everything supernatural and above everything super. So what would it benefit you to please him? Take creativity to do it. Right? Otherwise, you just become religious. That's what religion is, right? You do the same thing over and over and over and over. You think it's good for God. And people like, if I do this, your head, you over there imagining this while you in here calling worship. Right? You already at the gym while you in here, and you call that worship like you fooling me, and you ain't no way in here, right? You have transported you just set your body here, and you transported yourself somewhere else, and you think I don't see it. You think I don't know it. Rather than coming back in here, being in the moment, being present in the moment,
before the one who sees you. I want to challenge y'all's imagination. Watch this. When imagination and excitement are mixed together, you will either not notice obstacles or they will be largely diminished. All right? What is your imagination right now? Right? Because you can look at an image and say, okay, that's my imagination at this point. This says, when imagination and excitement are mixed together, you will either not notice obstacles or they will be largely diminished. So think about it. Think about when you begin to think about what you want to be, not what you were. Because what you were is back there. And if you want to be what you were, too bad. You ain't that. You're older than that now. So too bad. You can't even be what you were. You can be what you want to be, or what you're gonna be. So when you begin to think about what you're gonna be, and you get excited about it, like for me, right? I know what I used to be. I don't want to be that out. 103 to, right? I know what I am now, but what I want to be, right? What I want to be will be up in the 50s. I can get excited about it now to where a meal plan ain't a problem. The work ain't a problem already. The eating is. Right? But if I get excited enough, I did it before. If I get excited enough, a meal plan ain't a problem. Right? Now I want y'all moving this. I want you guys not to just, I want this stuff to begin becoming a part of how you adjust and change your life. We go to school, we learn, and sometimes we don't use it, or we think we ain't gonna use it, or whatever, but when we gotta use it, we pull it back out, right? This right here is something that, it ain't like school, it's life, it's spirit, it's you, it's existence. If you try to take these things and try to live in that venue, excitement, imagination, right? It's not to say that recall is not important, it is. But recall the good things, because he told us to think on these things. So if you're thinking on something that happened, make sure it's something good. I tell a story sometimes of how I used to be in church when I was younger, and we'd be so bored. We'd be so bored in church that we started making up games in church to play while we sit beside each other. One of the games was, you write on my back and I try to guess what you wrote. And then we switch back and forth. We sit there, we got there preaching, we ain't trying to listen, right? I mean, we was younger. And so we sit there, and I'll sit here, and I'll do like this. And Randy will start writing on my back, and I would sit here like. So when we really wanted to trick each other, we write in cursive, right? Rather than, but anyway, we make up games. David, he wouldn't make up a game, but he would say, one time we was in church and he said, watch this, I bet you I can make myself cry. And so we there, I'm like, no, you can't. He goes, okay, watch this. And so we sitting there, and he in church, right? And we sitting beside each other, I'm looking at him, and I'm looking at him. And then all of a sudden a tear rolled down his face. And I'm like, man, how you do that? How you do that? And you know what he told me? All I do is think about something sad. You can try it. He said, all I do is think about something sad. I stop, I focus, and I think about something sad. Now, I ain't gonna tell you what to think about sad. But guess what you can do? You can think yourself into another place. You can think yourself into a feeling.
Actors do it all the time. That's literally your job.
Say again?
That's literally actors' jobs.
Huh?
Actors?
Yes.
That's their job.
Yes. Is to embrace, get into that
jump into that role, and then they can do it. That's how they actually, they're professionals that do it, and then they make you believe it.
Right.
Right? I told you the other day, right? That was the best love story back in the
Yeah.
90s, right? Different world with
Dwayne.
Dwayne Wayne and Whitney.
Yeah.
Whitney.
Whitney. I know
whatever
it's
his name
Whitney.
was. Right? I'm like, that was the best love story. Right? Because you believed it. Gina and Martin,
Martin.
right? They was crazy, right? But you believed that they love each other, right? Why? Because they acted like it.
Right.
But think about that. You can force yourself to cry. Tears can come down because of what you think about. Now, what happens when you get mad and upset and you begin to think?